Okay, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to this. So it's a special session of the Connect Conversation series that we normally have. And why we're having it this late is because we wanted people from Europe, actually, in particular, they're 2 hours behind. Martin, I see you, to join us. So it's really great that you're here. So this session will be about an hour and 15 minutes. So I will go straight into the little introduction here that we have. So this is brought to you by Pharma Connect in AMS, and as you know, I am Professor David Katerere. And I see a lot of our students here tonight, which is great. So we're also a part of Afghan partners, and Afghan partners is really these different partners. So we have a university in South Africa, we work with the CSIR, and also we work with a university in Zimbabwe, and then with an industry partner who are at the moment actually exhibiting at the Cannabis Expo. So you can look them up there. I think they're at stand number 53. And the whole vision of Afghan is really to assist in building internal and local capacity that enables the agro-pharma industrial sector. So when we talk about agro-pharma, we are talking about pharmaceutical products that come out of the herbal industry and agriculture. So really agro-processed things, and there are many of them. And particularly because Africa is, we have lots of farmland here, so we should be dominating this sector. And then to really de-risk product development and commercialization. So a lot of the pharmacy students here, I would like you guys to start thinking about product development, not always becoming clinical pharmacists. And then to build a comprehensive ecosystem in the agro and canna hemp industry. So this is what we've done actually. So at the CSIR, and this is one of my students from TUT, who is now running this facility, which is a CO2 extraction facility for cannabis, not just cannabis, but a lot of other things. And in the work that we do, we work with industry and entrepreneurs to just try and assist them in this mission that we've set ourselves. You can, and I would suggest that you actually subscribe to this YouTube channel, and there's a lot of content there around cannabis, pharmacopoeia, what are pharmacopoeia, around African Medicine Agency, neglected foods, vaccines, and all sorts of things. So that's a really good resource. If for some reason you drop out and you can't join again, you can also just go to this Facebook page. So you can take a picture of that and just go there, because sometimes it's better you can connect through there. So we're streaming on Facebook as it is. And okay, we also actually have a newsletter that goes out every month. This is from AMP's section of this consortium. So yeah, you can subscribe, you can go, but you can also catch up on the newsletter with on the website actually. If you want to subscribe, you can also just send an email to Nano and she will help you do that, share more information. So this evening, our speaker then is Dr. Luano Izzo. That's the more beautiful one, the more beautiful of the two people in the picture. The other one is my good friend, Dr. Chief Blessed Okole, who is co-director of the facility at the CSIR. So Dr. Luana Izzo is an assistant professor at the Department of Pharmacy in Naples. So University Frderico II, University of Naples. She holds a PhD in pharmaceutical science, and because she loves to read, she's a bookworm, she has 2 master's degrees. Don't know how she does that. So she has this very strong element of pharmacy, but an equally strong element in food sciences and human nutrition, which actually makes her really unique. in this space, because cannabis, as you know, is a pharmaceutical product on the one hand, but it can and is also used as a nutraceutical product. So with that, I will hand over to Dr. Izzo.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Professor Catarere for the invitation and all of you for your time and your attention. Thank you in advance. I want to talk about the medical use of cannabis and cannabinoids, the current state in Europe. Before starting my presentation, I would like to introduce myself. Thanks, Professor Cadere, for my introduction, and introduce my department. So my name is Luano Izzo, and currently I work at University Federico II in the Department of Pharmacy. This department is located in the south of Italy, in the Campania region, in this part of Italy. The Department of Pharmacy, thanks to conducted by the researcher including this department, in the 2018 become a department of excellence. And actually, the department has been admitted to the selection of a new competition for the Department of Excellence in the years 2023. At the department, there are different master degree, a master degree in pharmaceutical technology and chemistry and pharmacy, a bachelor degree in quality control, herbal science and technology, and nutraceutical science. And finally, two different PhD courses in nutraceutical food, the functional food and human health, and pharmaceutical science. The first one is an international PhD course that born recently and joined the agreement again between three different universities: the University of Naples, Frderico II, the University of Valencia, and the Twinning University in South Africa. So in this slide, I have reported a brief introduction of myself. I have a degree in pharmacy and a second degree in food science and human nutrition. And in the 2019, I obtained a PhD degree in pharmaceutical science. My field of expertise regards three big areas. The first one regards the nutraceutical food. In this part, I study the chemical composition and the bioactivity of extract, plant, and food, and also the chemical composition and the valorization of the byproduct and the byproduct derived from food. Another big topic of my research regarded the development of an innovative method to individuate, to identify the contaminant in food and the biological fluid. In this part, I study mycotoxin and also other residues that can be found in food. And in the recent year, I focused my attention on cannabis sativa-based products such as hemp, inflorescence, and galenic preparation. So I would like to focus my presentation about these fields of my research. So hemp is an herbaceous annual plant that belongs to the Cannabinaceae family. These plants contain a marked concentration of active compounds, such as phytocannabinoids, polyphenols, and also several volatile compounds. Over the centuries, hemp has been used as a source of fiber, food, oil, and medicine, as well as for recreation and religious purpose. Whereas hemp seed has long been used as a source of edible oil. Hemp originated in Asia in ancient time and then expand to other areas including India, China, and Europe. In the recent years, the area dedicated to production of cannabis increased significantly, and also in the same direction, the production of this plant, as you can see in the slide. And among the larger producer of cannabis, we can note France, accounting for more than 17% of the European production, followed by the Netherlands with 10% and Austria with 4% of the total European production. In this slide, I have also reported the European Commission link in which you can see all the data that I have reported in this slide. As regards hemp, this is a really stringent regulation about the import of hemp. In fact, the import of hemp is permitted only in growers meet strict regulation that is reported in the regulation 13.8 2013. In this regulation established the common organization of the market in agricultural production of hemp and hemp seed to ensure that this product guarantee the control content of tetrahydrocannabinoid content. In this regulation, we can see that in Europe, this level is set to 0.2%. We can see in the next slide that is information about the levels of contamination of the levels of THC in hemp. Hemp has a number of environmental benefits. In fact, the hemp cultivation contributed to the European Green Deal's objective. In fact, 1 hectare of hemp sequesters from 9 to 15 tons of oxide carbon, similar to the amount sequestrated by the young forest. In addition, hemp help to break the cycle of disease when used in crop rotation, and also hemp cover the ground just 3 weeks after the germination, and in this case help soil erosion prevention. Again, hemp produce a large amount of pollen, useful to provide shelter for birds, and hemp seeds are a food for animals. And finally, hemp is very useful for reduce the use of pesticide, insecticide, fungicide in the cultivation. In this slide, I have reported the mainly use of hemp in Europe. Hemp can be used as food and cosmetic. In fact, cannabis has a high nutritional content and several food for human consumption can be produced from hemp. Then another use of hemp is the semi-finished products such as fiber, powder, oil, and fields. Materials intended for use of green manure, organic material for bioengineering works, or products useful for green building. In fact, hemp can play a significant role in improving energy efficacy in the building sector, and also is a use for group dedicated to teaching and demonstrating activity, as well as researches by public or private institution. Hemp fiber is also used in textile industry, and this interested increase towards a greener and more sustainable economy. And finally, hemp can be used also to make paper. In this case, there are multiple advantages. Because the use of hemp fiber to make paper permitted to use this paper and recycle this material more times. However, I have just shown some of the use of the hemp, but a considerable amount of scientific data reported in literature has demonstrated that cannabis can be useful for a chronic pain, and this is a great advantage given the over-prescription of opioids and other drugs intended for pain. In this plant, in cannabis, were identified several compounds. Of this compound, more than 100 are called about this compound. So these bioactive compounds are very important and have a lot of biological properties such as anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, analgesic activity, making this plant a very promising medical for several applications. In this slide, I have reported the minor compound contained in the extract derived from the inflorescence of Cannabis sativa. In fact, naturally, the plant contained acid in the chemical structure, the acid cannabinoids compound. In fact, then with the reaction of decarboxylation, we can obtain the THC without the carboxylate. This compound with the carboxyl group don't have the psychoactive effect, but only the THC have this effect. Then another compound is represented by cannabigerol. This minor compound is useful to reduce anxiety and all the symptom associated with the depression. And finally, I would like to report this minor compound, the cannabinol. This is another minor cannabinoid, phytocannabinoid contained in the plant, in the cannabinoids plant, and is very useful to act on the neurological disease. So, among cannabis, we can different species of this plant. We can divide the three different species of cannabis: Cannabis sativa, indica, and ruderalis. Although these three strains belong to the same family, each has its genetic characteristic. This plant differ in the anatomic part, in the leaves, in the shapes of the leaves, in the sides, and also in the content of the bioactive compound. In fact, the cannabis sativa tend to have a high concentration of the psychoactive compound and a relatively low content of CBD. Whereas the cannabis indica is characterized by the higher level of cannabidiol and lower level of THC. And other one species of cannabis, the Cannabis ruderalis, contain lower level of THC and CBD. how this bioactive compound act on the system. These cannabinoids act by stimulation to receptor, the cannabinoid receptor type 1 and type 2. These receptors are localized in the different parts. The first one is localized in the brain, and the second one is situated in the periphery. And these cannabinoids act exactly such as the endocannabinoids. In fact, these bioactive compounds are able to inhibited or activated the presynaptic calcium channel, and subsequently act on the release of the neurotransmitted on the T space, the postsynaptic receptor, and based on the receptor and based on the activation or disactivation, we have a different effect. For example, THC binds the CB1 receptor, giving the psychoactive effect. As regards regulation about cannabis, in Europe, there are very large regulation on cannabis. Regulation on seed, of the quantitative determination of THC in hemp varieties, of the maximum level of this compound in hemp seed and products derived therefrom, and about the growth, about the rule of the growers, and all the specific regulation about each one of the part regard cannabis production, import, export, and also the possibility to product the cannabis to produce the ingredient to put in the, for example, oil. So we can divide the regulation on cannabis in the industrial cannabis, in the food stuff, and medical cannabis. In fact, in the cannabis, the regulation 242 of 2017 established and set the levels of THC lower than 0.2%. This is a very problem regarding the import of the cannabis about other region, because the grower for import this product have to meet this strict regulation. As regard food stuff, a recent regulation report and set the maximum levels of THC in the flour, protein, seeds, and snack at 3 milligram per kilo for dry product and 7.5 milligram per kilo for hemp seed oil. This is reported in the regulation 1393 of 222. And what about medical cannabis? For medical cannabis, there is a very stringent regulation. In fact, the THC is included in the table 2 of the section B of the normativa in materia di stupefacenti. In this part, based on the DPA 309/1919, this bioactive compound is a psychoactive compound, and for this reason, the use of this particular bioactive compound is very stringent regulated. So, for this reason, the medical and therapeutical use of cannabis in Europe is very controversial, because actually the use of cannabis and the inflorescence of cannabis sativa can be used in the magistral formulation, but for use this part, this ingredient, the pharmaceutical preparation have to following the good compound practice, and each prescription have an individual prescription. For this reason, each time that one galenic preparation was performed is not an industrial preparation. For this reason, can result in a different content, a little different content of the bioactive compound or the psychoactive compound, and this is a very critical step in Europe. In this slide, I have reported the main extraction of cannabinoids from cannabis. Among the four method, the Canapsa method and the SIFO-CPAF method, based on the carboxylation of cannabinoids, are the most used method. So, in this slide, I have summarized all the steps that the patient have to done until to receive the treatment. So, patient receive the prescription from the doctor. After then, pharmacist prepare the galenic formulation, and this is the critical step for the individual prescription and the individual preparation. For this reason, the European Commission set a new regulation. In the regulation, the 279 of the 2015 was set that the galenic formulation were analyzed in a scientific laboratory to have the exact content of bioactive and in particular of the psychoactive compound. After then, the scientific laboratory could release a test report, and this test report is indispensable for pharmacists to dispense the galenic preparation to patients. So it's a very long way to receive the treatment. So this is the regulation about the mandatory Italian pharmacies to provide the exact based on therapeutical cannabis sativa with the effective declaration of the quantity of THC and CBD in the galenic preparation. This analysis must be performed with a valid analytical method, and in this galenic preparation, the doctor could be include only different variety of cannabis, which include the bedrocan, bediol, and other permitted by the regulation, such as Bedica and Bedrodinol. In this slide, I have reported the different type of cannabis available in Europe, and in particular, in another regulation, in a recent regulation, the Ministry of Health has finalized it and has and certified the scheme of varieties permitted and European law for the purpose of use these schemes and these product to manufacture active pharmaceutical ingredients. So, for example, if I need the levels of THC of 22%, I need to use a certified seed to produce the bedrocan, of sativa to produce the bedrocan type of preparation, and only with a certified SIM I can use this particularly preparation to manufacture the galenic preparation. Now we will take a short break.